Oi, gente! Hello, everyone! Feliz Ano Novo! Happy New Year! Eu sou Virginia, sua professora brasileira. I'm Virginia, your Brazilian Portuguese teacher. This is the first class that I teach this year, so I'm super happy to be here with you today. Please let me know in the chat de onde você é? Where are you from? Tell me your name because sometimes you use different names in your account, so I want to know your name. And de onde você é? Qual é o seu nome? De onde você é? So today's topic is pronunciation, Brazilian Portuguese pronunciation, more specifically vowel sounds, which are tricky. Vowel sounds are tricky in every language, but in Portuguese we have 5 letters but many other sounds. We are going to talk about that in a minute, but first let me take a look at the chat. So this class will last about 30 minutes. I hope you can stay with me until the end. We are going to talk a lot about pronunciation and we are going to practice pronunciation together. Olá, olá, quem está aqui? Andrew, tudo bom, Andrew? Scott, Michigan, tudo bom, Nilda de Michigan? Ah, de Paris! Bonjour, bonsoir! Oi, Roger, da Califórnia! Lokesh da Índia, que legal! Feliz Ano Novo, Margus! Nova York, olá! Scott de Cuba, Nova York! Tudo bom? Andrew da Flórida, Kevin do Alasca, uau, que legal! Amir do Uzbequistão! Quanta gente! Obrigada por participarem desta aula. Thank you so much for joining me today. Olá, olá, so many people. Jason de Belo Horizonte. Olá, da Suécia, Kevin. Olá, Kevin. João de Arkansas. Fernanda de Connecticut. Tudo bom? Tim. Olá. Okay, I could spend the entire time just reading your comments, but let's get started today. I really like this topic because I think it's really useful. This topic is useful for students who are just starting to learn Brazilian Portuguese, but also I think it's a good review for those who have been learning for a while because pronunciation of vowels is always tricky. And I will be reading the chat, so if you have any questions about pronunciation, this is the perfect time to ask your questions. I'll try to help you as much as I can throughout this class. Let me share my document with you. So before we start the class, I have a very special announcement. We have new classes started in February, the first week of February, and I decided this year to open the enrollment a little bit early. So if you want to join our group classes that start in February, you can sign up now. Just visit our website, speakingbrazilian.com/premium to see all the courses we offer. You can also take a placement test if you're not sure what course is best for you. You can also email us and we'll be happy to help you choose the best course for you. Classes start the first week of February. And yeah, I'm super excited about that. I always love, I only open enrollment for my premium courses 3 times a year, and this will be the first cohort of the year. So if you're looking for a Portuguese course with structure to really help you learn Portuguese step by step, take a look at the courses that we offer. You'll find all the information on our website. Vamos lá, vamos falar sobre pronúncia. Let's talk about pronunciation. So, as I said, we have 5 letters, right, for the vowels. A, E, I, O, U. But how many sounds? What do you think? Tell me in the chat. If you had to guess, how many sounds, vowel sounds, we have in Brazilian Portuguese? Because we have 5 letters, but we have many more sounds. So when you think about phonetics, right, the sounds, we have only 5 letters to represent many sounds. So how many vowel sounds do you think we have in Portuguese? I'm curious to see if you know this or if you have any guess. I'm going to go back to the comments to see your comments about this. Alison said 12. Mais de 20? Wow, Andrew! I mean, 100? Is this to answer this question? Olha, 100 seria muito, hein? 437. I love your answer, Timothy. 10, 20 or so. You guys have good guesses, but I have one person here that got it right. 16, that's a very good guess. 10 is a good guess. 17 is, oh, very good guesses. Let me see, who answered correctly? Yes, you got it right, Alison. Parabéns! Alison, you got it right. So we do have 12 vowel sounds in Brazilian Portuguese. Let's go back to the document. Vamos voltar. And let's talk about all these sounds. Okay, so first it's important to understand that we have two types of sounds. We have oral sounds, which are produced through your mouth. The air passes through your mouth to produce the sound. And we also have nasal sounds. As you know, they are very tricky sounds in Brazilian Portuguese. So we have nasal vowels that are, and to produce the sound, the air passes through mouth and nose at the same time. And we also have the difference between open and closed sounds. This happens with two letters, two vowels, e and o. We have the open o, and then the closed o. We're going to talk about this one by one today, okay? So just repeating, we have these 5 letters, right? Let's pronounce the traditional pronunciation of these vowels together. I encourage you to repeat after me whenever I give you examples so you get some pronunciation practice, and repeating out loud will also help you not only practice but remember the content, okay? So repeat after me. A, E, I, O, U. A, E, I, O, U. So these are the 5 vowels that we have in Portuguese in general. But now let's talk about all the sounds that we have, because each one of these vowels, they can have more than one pronunciation depending on the position in the sentence, the graphic accent. So here we have the most important vowel, A, the first one. I don't know why I said it's the most important. I don't think there are vowels more important than others. They're all equally important. So the letter A is always pronounced as A. So this is important because in other languages, like in English, it's very common to pronounce A as in Portuguese, in Brazil, is a very open sound. It's A, like in father. So repeat after me to practice. Casa, casa. Falar, falar. Pai, pai. Okay, so whenever you see this letter A, unless it is nasal, which is the next topic, unless there is like anything that indicates it's a nasal sound, it will always be a very open A sound, okay? Of course, when you talk about connecting speech, when you're speaking fast, other things happen in language, right? So we have some reductions, some syllables that disappear, but we're not talking about that now. We're only talking about standard pronunciation. We're not talking about how Brazilians speak fast and fast speech, right? That's another topic, maybe for another day. But this is the standard pronunciation, A. Then we have the nasal A. So the letter A can have 2 sounds. The oral sound, A, and the nasal sound, which is So it's a little bit closed sound. It's not as open as A, so it's a little bit more closed, but nasal. So the air passes through mouth and nose. I know this is tricky because some languages don't have true nasal vowels, but you can pretend there is an N right after the letter A, if that helps. And then how do you know the A is nasal? When you see this little graphic accent on top of it, you know it is a nasal A. And another indication are words when you see the letter N or M right after the vowel A. Okay, so I'm going to write like this. So if you see the graphic accent or the N or the M right after A, you know it is a nasal sound. Always the same sound. So repeat after me to practice. Maçã, maçã. Rã, rã. Pão, pão. Coração, coração. So if you don't know the meaning, the maçã means apple, rã means frog, pão means bread, and coração means heart. So here we have the nasal diphthong, ão, so it's a nasal and then you close to the u sound, ão, ão. Questions so far, comments? If you have more examples than you want me to pronounce, think about words that you'd like me to pronounce, or if you have questions about any of this, and let me know in the chat. I'm going to cover a little bit more before I go to the chat, but I'll go to the chat in a minute. Let's talk about the letter E, which is the second vowel. So the letter E can have three sounds. It can be the open E, or it can be closed, E. Or it can be nasal, E. Nasal sounds in Brazilian Portuguese, they are naturally a little bit more closed, but clearly nasal. The sound is very different. The sound of E is very different from E, right? So see how I move my lips so you can notice the difference between the open and the closed. We use these names, aberto, fechado. Aberto means open, fechado means closed, because you actually have to close your mouth a little bit to produce the closed sound, and you have to open it to produce the open sound, right? So repeat. So see the movement of my lips and mouth, and see if you can repeat after me the closed and the open E. So the open is E, and the closed is E. E. It's a subtle difference, but very important. Let's see examples in words. Repeat after me to practice. Céu, céu. Ela. Now with the close sound. Dedo, ele. So the meaning of these words, céu means sky, ela means she, dedo means finger, and ele means he. And you notice that the feminine word ela uses the open sound, ela, and the masculine word ele uses the closed sound. This is a common pattern that we see in Brazilian Portuguese. And you also notice that the last vowel here in ele is not pronounced as open or closed. It's actually pronounced as another vowel, right? So this is another topic of Brazilian Portuguese. This is called a vowel reduction. So the vowel E many times is pronounced as E at the end of words when it's placed in an unstressed position, right? It's a very weak pronunciation. Ele. It's quick and weak. And it's based on, it varies depending on the accent. So some people would say ele, but I say ele. So when the letter E is in this position, the last letter in a word, if this syllable is unstressed, it can be pronounced as E. Let's see examples of the nasal E. So E. Repeat after me to practice. Também, tem, dente. So here, have you noticed that I did not pronounce the M sound? I do not say também. That sounds really weird. We don't pronounce the M at the end of words in Portuguese. We actually, in this kind of, in this syllable, when you see the EM together, the M is actually pronounced as a E, em. So I actually pronounce two vowels, something like this. Em. Também. Tem. tem. So there's no M sound. It sounds more like two vowels, and it's very nasal. Em, em. And here we don't have the diphthong sound. It's just an N sound. Den, dente, dente. And again, we have the letter E at the end of a word, so we can have this vowel reduction and pronounce E as E. This is it's a variation of accent. You could pronounce the word dente also as dente, dente or dente. Both pronunciations are correct and very common in Brazil. It depends on the region. So my accent is dente, dente. Okay, I'm gonna go to the chat and see if you have any questions, because I covered a lot. Let me see if I have any questions, or if you have any word that you would like me to pronounce. Vou lá para o final. Bom dia do Utah. Chapadão. Chapadão. I know the word chapada, chapada, which is like, we have many parks in Brazil that are called chapadas. It's a big area. Chapadão, that would be the nasal sound, chapadão. It's not a common word. Is always stressed? Almost always, not always. There are a few words in Portuguese in which the will not be stressed. But that's an excellent comment, Susan, because actually most of the time it is stressed. So whenever you see this tide, right, the chill, there is a big chance it is stressed. I can remember of one word, órgão. In this case, the stress syllable is the first one, not the but the sound is always a little bit, at least we call this a secondary stress in this case. So I'm gonna write it down so you can see. I'm gonna go here. So we have this word, órgão, right? So in this case, the stress is actually in the first syllable, and the second syllable is the secondary stress, órgão, órgão. But most words with will be stressed at the nasal sound will be the most stressed sound, like all these examples here. Maçã, pão, coração. So most of the time, they are stressed. Ótima pergunta, Susan. So, amanhã. Repeat after me. Amanhã. Amanhã. So the first A is open, A, and the other two are nasal. Amanhã. Amanhã. Amanhã, which means tomorrow. Looking if there are more questions here. Vamos lá. I don't know if you can hear, there's a dog barking. I'm sitting for a dog, and he likes to bark. Is there a reason that cell needs an accent but Ella does not? Well, this is depends on the origin of the word. So answering why certain words have accents and others don't, it's complicated, because I really need to study the origin of the word and how it evolved. So I don't have the answer for that. But in this case, let me see, Saúl. I think if I remove the accent, the pronunciation would be Saúl. I don't know. It sounds weird. I would have to think about it, Joseph. Good question. Mas versus mais. That's a good question, Alison, because it depends on the accent. You could say mas and mais, right? So some people make a clear distinction between mas and mais, but depending on the accent, you could pronounce both words the same way. For example, I think in Rio de Janeiro, they would say mais and mais. mais. Same pronunciation. However, it's really important to write it correctly, right? Because they're different words with different meanings. So mas means but, and mais means more or plus, but the pronunciation can be the same. It's okay to pronounce the same. When does an have an accent? I think you're talking... Oh, the E have an accent. Yeah, there is no clear rule, unfortunately. And accents, so you have an idea. The word, we have agreements between Brazil and Portugal, and they call this spelling agreements, acordos ortográficos. And sometimes they just remove accents for no reason. I mean, there is a reason. The reason is that they want Brazilian Portuguese to be more similar to European Portuguese and vice versa. They want to have some kind of unity between the countries. But so they just decide, I don't know, these people, the grammarians, I don't know how to call them, they just decide to add or remove accents. So when you think about, oh, why this word has an accent and this one does not have, you really need to study word by word how all the changes that happened in our spelling system. So there's no clear rule. It's really confusing even for us Brazilians. So this is something, if you want to write correctly, this is something that you can always rely on a dictionary. And sometimes I have to check the dictionary because the way that when I learned to write and read at school, after 2009, we went through this huge change in the spelling system in Brazil, and I had to relearn to write in my own language. So one example is the word idea, ideia. I'm going to write it down. So before 2009, we wrote it this way, ideia, with the graphic accent and over the letter E. And today we have to write it without it, ideia. So this is the new rule. It's really weird. So when it comes to graphic accents, they have a very important function. They make the vowel more stressed, and also sometimes they change the sound of the vowel. When you see, for example, this acute accent over the vowel e, you know the vowel is open. And when you see this circumflex accent on top of the vowel e, you know it is closed, like e. In the past, the word ele used to be written like this. A long time ago, I don't know when. But then it changed because these spelling systems are always changing in Brazil, and it's very confusing. That's why there is no clear rule. So I recommend you don't stress about it. Just you'll learn this with, if you want to really write correctly and you're not sure, just check the dictionary, because it's really impossible to learn all the rules because they're not clear rules. The spelling just changes. I wish I had a better answer for you guys about the graphic accents. Vamos pronunciar São Sebastião. So let's practice. Not two nasal sounds here. The diphthong ão. São Sebastião. It's the name of a city, right? São Sebastião. São Sebastião. São Sebastião. Okay. Mão. Mão, which means hand. Mão. Ão. Mão. Muito bom. Muito obrigada, Alison. Chulé. It's a funny word. Chulé is that bad smell that some people have in their feet. The pronunciation is chulé. Chulé. Because the CH sounds like sh, and the last syllable is le. Chulé. It's a funny word. Okay, everybody, I want to cover the rest of the content, so I'm going to go back to the document, and then I'll be back to the comments in a few minutes. Vamos lá, I just want to cover as much as I can in this class. So let's talk about the vowel E. E. We have two sounds, the oral E and the nasal I. So repeat after me. Ilha, ilha. Tio, tio. Ilha means island, tio means uncle. And then the nasal sound, minha, minha. Sim, sim. Be careful, I don't pronounce the M. Sim, it's not sim, there's no M sound. Sim, sim. You can pronounce like a very quick, light N if you need. Sim, sim. And the letter O, just like the letter E, has three sounds. The open, close, and the nasal, right? So, aberto is O, the closed is O, and the nasal is ON, right? So, repeat after me just the vowel sounds. And pay attention to how the lip movement changes, right? So, how I position my lips in a different way to pronounce each one of these sounds. O, O, on. O, O, on. So you see that to pronounce the closed and the nasal, the position of the lips is basically the same because the nasal sound is also closed. But then I add the air passes through the nose to create this nasal sound. So now with the words, repeat after me. It's really important to repeat out loud to practice. Avó, avó. Nova, nova. Avó means grandmother and nova means new. It's an adjective, a feminine adjective. Avô, avô. Novo, novo. So avô means grandfather and novo is the masculine adjective which means new. Põe, põe. Aviões, aviões. The tricky one, right? Because we only see this on sound, and it's mostly common in this type of diphthongs. This is the verb put, põe, to put. Aviões is the plural of avião, so we see this on sound a lot in plural words, but also after the letter N or M, as in the word bom, bom, which means good. Bom. And the last vowel is the letter U, and we have two sounds, the oral and the nasal. So repeat after me. Uva, uva. Urso, urso. Uva is the fruit, a grape, and urso is a bear. And the nasal sound, muito, muito. Algum, algum. União, união. So again, don't pronounce the M here, it's algum, algum, without the M sound. Okay, everybody, I'm going to go to the comments. We're almost finishing this class, but I'll stay a few more minutes just to read your comments and answer any last questions that you have. Let me know if there are words that you want me to pronounce or any follow-up question about everything. I think it's a lot to cover in 30 minutes, but I hope I gave you an overview, a good idea of how many, you know at least how many sounds there are. And of course, to master all this, you need a lot of practice, right? So don't stress about it. Practice makes perfect. ChatGPT, yeah, I never tried it, but maybe. Yeah, why not? I like dictionaries, so I recommend Michaelis is a free dictionary. I use Wise, but Wise is difficult. You need to sign up to have access to it. Oi, Mônica! So this word, repeat after me. Invenções. invenções, which means inventions. We won't talk about the art today because that would take a long time. But I recommend, I forgot to mention at the beginning, I have a free course that covers all the most important sounds in Brazilian Portuguese that are different from other languages. And you can sign up for free. It's a free course. Just go to our website, speakingbrazilian.com, and look for our free resources, and you find a free course in pronunciation. And there is a lesson about the letter R and how to pronounce the letter R in different positions in the word. Good question, Manfred. There is no difference in pronunciation between the singular form tem and the plural form tem. So it's important to write correctly, right? But the pronunciation is the same. Ele tem, he has. Eles têm, they have. Same pronunciation of the verb. Great question. O versus a. I think the second one, Denise, would you have like a word for me? Because we actually, the letter A it's very different from O. And usually when you see the A is either A or right? Which is different from O. So I would need words so I really understand what is exactly your question. Yeah, I think sim sounds a lot like the word sing in English, right? It's not exactly the same because we don't have the at the end, sing, but it's a good comparison. I think it helps to think of like that. Charlton. In nova, both vowels are open, and in novo both are closed. Nova, yes. Very good comment. This is called harmonia vocálica. How do I say that in English? Vowel harmony, I think. And this is very common in many words. You see that all the vowels tend to be open or all the vowels tend to be closed. They create like a harmony between them. So question from Sego, how Brazilians hear when foreigners trying to pronounce incomplete nasal sound? You know, most of the time it's really understandable. If you get the other sounds right, don't stress about it. Just continue to practice. It's important if you get the consonants right and you get as close as possible with the vowels, because nasal vowels are tricky. You'll probably be able to have normal conversations. You know that in English there are there are some vowel sounds that I never mastered. There are vowels in English that don't exist in Portuguese. You have two a sounds, and it's really hard for me. And but you can hear the accent that I have, but you still can understand me, right? So it's the same when you speak Portuguese and you don't get the perfect nasal sound, but if you get the other sounds right, people will still you hear, oh, you have an accent, but it's fine. You can understand, you can have conversations. No one cares if you have an accent, okay? So don't stress about it. Just do your best. Oh no, I don't have a printout today, but if you want to learn, have content to really learn and review after this class, I recommend the mini course. It's available for free on our website. I'm going to add also, after the class, I'm going to add in the description, so you can find the link in the description. But you can just go to our website, speakingbrazilian.com, and then you look for the free pronunciation course, so you can review a lot of what we covered here today. With diphthongs, they seem less blended sound than in English. True. I'm not sure. Interesting comment. I would have to think about it. I'm not sure what you mean by less blended. Interesting question, Susan. I'll have to think about it. Grandmother, avó, avó, avó. And then grandfather is avô. The only difference is the vowel, but don't stress about it because as I said before, the context will really help you communicate. So even if you don't get the perfect vowel sound, within the context, people will understand what you mean. So it's okay. Oh, I love this word, João. It can be João, João, or João, João. So the first O sound can be pronounced as O or U, and the nasal diphthong is always João. So many times the final O, just like the final E, is reduced. So the final O at the end of words, when it's an unstressed position, can be pronounced as a weak U. So I would say falo, quero. It sounds like a weak U. It depends on the accent. Some people would pronounce O. So you can say falo or falo. Both ways are correct. Okay, everybody, it's time. So I wish I had time to answer all your questions, but I highly recommend that you look for the mini course. Oh, Rob added the link in the chat so you can sign up for this free course so you can review pronunciation. And okay, I'm just gonna answer 2 more questions here because I really wanna help you as much as possible. I love this word, is cafuné, cafuné. It's I think it's indigenous, or I'm not sure. Okay, so many questions. Pronunciation of ano. So this is ano. Ano, it's a nasal sound. Ano. So feliz ano novo. So repeat after me to practice. Feliz ano novo. Feliz ano novo means happy new year. Okay, everybody, as I said at the beginning of the class, we have let me just change here. We have new classes starting in February. So if you enjoyed this class and if you'd like to have regular classes with me every week, go take a look, visit our website, speakingbrazilian.com, and you find all the information. To find the specific information about the classes that start in February with live sessions, the link is speakingbrazilian.com/premium. These premium courses, they include group classes and small groups with a Brazilian teacher, and also Q&A sessions with me every Saturday via Zoom. So via Zoom is much better because these live sessions on YouTube are great. I love them, but I can only interact with you using the chat. But via Zoom, I can see you, you can unmute and speak, so it's much more interactive. And if you join any of our premium courses, you have classes with we have 2 teachers. We have a teacher and small group classes and Q&A sessions with me every Saturday. If you're at all interested, visit our website to learn more. And I'll see you next time. Grande abraço e feliz ano novo. Tchau, tchau, gente.